that the grand jury investigation into this matter is continuing. The defendants are expected to appear voluntarily for arraignment, which is scheduled for 9 a.m. on July 10th, 2017 at 26th in California in the Layton Criminal Building. It is also important to note that an indictment is not evidence of guilt. The defendants are presumed innocent and are entitled to a fair trial at which the government has the burden of proving guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. I would like to thank my team for their hard work and diligence and thank the state's attorney for use of this room, but just to avoid any confusion, please note that they are not involved in this matter. And with that, I will take your questions.
Can you talk about specifically how they conspired allegedly to conceal the facts, etc.?
The indictment alleges that they failed to interview specific witnesses, that they lied or provided false or misleading or mischaracterized information on official forms, and that they failed to complete the investigation of the incident in a manner that would reveal the truth.
With so many hung juries and mistrials of cases involving officers, what's your level of confidence that the Chicago cops can be convicted in the city?
I have to take these facts as they are given to me. I have been appointed in this case. I cannot be concerned with other cases. I have been appointed to complete a task. My team and I will be diligent in completing that task. The investigation in this matter continues. We will follow all roads where they lead. We will seek the truth.
You mentioned in the indictment that there are others, known and unknown, that are involved in this conspiracy. Are you able to elaborate on that? Are there any charges that you're still looking into on other officers?
That information at this time is not public. The investigation does continue.
So the three officers who were on the scene that night, and did their alleged criminal acts begin at the scene and then subsequently continued in the days and weeks following?
I'm sorry, I missed the beginning of your...
The three officers on the scene that night.
Yes, they were.
Will the three officers who are the defendants still be required to testify at the police board hearing of Officer Van Dyke tomorrow?
I have no involvement in the Officer Van Dyke proceedings, so I have no idea.
So are any officers cooperating with your investigation other than those who were... Are any officers cooperating at this point? Are you getting help from other officers?
The investigation continues. I cannot speak to information that is that specific.
So are you able to tell us if they're in custody yet?
If no one is in custody, no. So the defendants are expected to appear at arraignment on July 10th.
How would you characterize their behavior in this case?
Okay, she had it first.
So since the grand jury, the special grand jury is still being convened, the door is open for other officers to be indicted later on, correct?
The investigation continues.
So this kind of goes beyond the code of silence, doesn't it? They weren't just silent, they were acting.
The indictment speaks to the activities of the three individuals. It speaks to actions they took as well as actions they did not take.
And how to speak to this kind of behavior, as you said, for people who are sworn to serve in Iraq?
I'm not sure if I get your question, but if you're asking me to speak to other individuals, I'm unable to do that because my task here is these individuals.
What these three officers did, how egregious is that, what they're accused of doing as people who are wearing uniforms?
Egregious enough that the grand jury indicted them on 3 felonies that carry a sentence of 3 to 5 years imprisonment and fines of up to $25,000 on each count.
What should the message be to other officers?
The grand jury in this case viewed the activity that was named in this indictment by probable cause in such a way as to indicate that they would be charged with 3 counts that carry a penalty of 3 to 5 years imprisonment and a fine of $25,000 if convicted.
Do you know the last time any charges like this were brought against Chicago police officers?
I don't know.
And has your investigation taken over a possible federal investigation into obstruction of justice? Is that one done now, and are you the sole prosecuting authority?
I have nothing to do with a federal investigation. This is a state investigation. I was appointed for these purposes, and this is the only jurisdiction that I have.
Does the purview of your jurisdiction include whether or not the mayor and other political officials knew of a videotape beforehand and kept silent about it?
The order appointing me special prosecutor was specific with respect to my jurisdiction, and I am investigating pursuant to that order.
Could you talk about what led you to the indictment in terms of, was it interviews with, potential witnesses and other officers? Can you talk about, the evidence, if you will, and what led you and brought us to this point?
The evidence will be presented at trial if there is a trial, and at that point the evidence will be presented, hopefully beyond a reasonable doubt.
So you can't characterize at all sort of any of the steps?
Not at this time.
Now, of the three, just Officer Gaffney is still at the police department. The other two left the force. Is that correct?
I'm not exactly sure who's still at the police department. It's my understanding that one or more of them may still be with the police department. I don't know.
Okay.
So they've not been taken into custody?
No, they will not be taken into custody. They will appear for arraignment on July 10th at 9 a.m. at the 26th and California at the Criminal Court Building.
So can you explain, that's almost 2 weeks away, or roughly 2 weeks away, so is that just, most people would be taken into custody, so, or I would assume, so why are they just out without any, have they been processed at all?
It's very typical for a situation like this to give a courtesy call to the defendants and let them know when the arraignment is, and if the prosecutor anticipates that they are not a risk of flight or danger to the community, which are the standards, to allow them to appear at the arraignment, which is what we are doing in this situation.
If they're convicted, will they lose their pensions?
I don't know.
There are several officers accused of corroborating these stories. Can we expect charges and indictments against them?
The investigation continues.
Can you talk at all about the investigative steps that led to these charges in a broad sense? What went into this investigation?
Well, as you know, there's a grand jury that is investigating. Typically, a grand jury would issue subpoenas, receive information pursuant to those subpoenas, and then evaluate that information, which is what this grand jury did.
It's a long ways down the road, but if Officer Van Dyke is cleared at trial, and if the shooting was found to be justified, does that undercut the basis for your case that these reports were all fabricated to make it look like it was justified?
Officer Van Dyke's case is a totally separate case from this case. This grand jury investigation is a totally separate grand jury investigation from Officer Van Dyke's case. This case stands alone.
Was anybody given immunity from future prosecution and to give their testimony and led to these indictments?
That's a question that was already asked and answered.
Can you speak at all as to why these three in particular have been indicted, as opposed to many of the other officers who are still being investigated?
The grand jury reviewed information and evidence, issued subpoenas, deliberated, and the grand jury has issued an indictment of these three individuals, and their investigation continues.
Do you feel like you were limited at all in your investigation, sort of politically, by having to only look at the officers and not commanding structures, oversight structures, politicians, et cetera?
When appointed, any individual who is appointed seeks to do the best job they can pursuant to the appointment orders. I have not been limited in any way, shape, or form with respect to my appointment orders, and my team has done everything that we believe is fair and just in this case with respect to the investigation.
Can you explain why I noticed in several occasions you kept referring to the unofficial code of silence? Is there a reason for using unofficial now? I mean, does it suggests that it's very limited phenomenon.
I don't know that, I'm suggesting anything with respect to that. If you have the official code, share it with me. I'll issue you a subpoena.
The indictment mentions several unnamed individuals identified by letters. Most of these would appear to be command rank officers who signed off on reports. They're noted as having signed off on reports. Any reason why those officers, many of whom are known to have viewed the video of this incident, haven't been charged?
The investigation continues.
All right, last question, please.
Will you be trying the case?
If it goes to trial, yes.
Who are the three individuals that they did not interview or did not pass along or purposely ignored? Are they people who witnessed? Who are these?
Should this matter go to trial, then that information will be revealed.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.